What's up, guys? Here's Kevin from China and studying College of New Caledonia in Canada. Actually, this video is my English 107 final project. What I've studied this semester in this class is First Nation literature. This is the first time that I touch this career. In the first week, I started to comprehend the main theme that all First Nation writers want to express. It was also the first time I experienced the hardships that First Nations suffered in 1950s in USA. And I've noticed what are the big differences between indigenous worldview and Western worldview. The most important thing I've noticed is that First Nation people and First Nation writers always searching goodness in life. Although some articles they've written include some darkness in the world, in the end, they want us to realize the beautiful from the world. Now, I'll introduce 2 points that I think is very useful for my life that I've learned. First one is run into inspiration and analyze of oppression. In other words, is injustice. Oppression is the problem everyone will face in their life, no matter you are in doing work or studying. Indigenous writers also write many articles about it, like I'm not in charge of this ritual by Win. The main theme of those essays totally changed my mind. When I was young, I experienced a lot of injustice. At that time, my father and brother always told me that I need to be stronger. The only solution of oppression is yourself getting better. But after this section, I noticed injustice is not what you should take. Getting better is important, but you also need to articulate the injustice and thus come partial control of the story. What First Nation writers have done is they do it by writing story and poem. The second point is disappearance. When we come to disappearance, we need to realize that if we don't protect First Nation literature deliberately, this culture may be disappearable. In my life, I've already experienced many disappearances. For my culture, many Chinese traditional culture because of technology development has disappeared. We no longer need to go back to home with our family in festival because we have video chat. For my daily life, I lost many friends because we don't contact anymore. For indigenous writers, they have more experience to write disappearance. I thought they've noticed that their culture is disappearing. They tried really hard to write, to let people realize it and protect it. They fully express the sadness and helplessness in their article. In Fooling God, written by Louis, he described a little girl trying to disappear, but I think he was disappearing himself. I must be tireless as rust and wood as roots growing through the locks on doors, and crumbling the cinder block of the foundations of his everlasting throne. When I was reading this paragraph, I remember the time that I'm lonely and nobody come to release my pressure. I'm so happy that finally Western government noticed the importance of First Nation culture and is trying their best to protect it. Last but not at least, I don't think there are anything in this class is not useful. I will strongly recommend this class to my friend because it helps me and helps us living better with indigenous history. For the future of indigenous literature, I believe First Nation writers will keep their kind-hearted writing style. And with people's notice of importance of indigenous culture, First Nation people will have a better living environment.